I study a lot of brands, but this might be one of the most exceptional cases ever built because the founder didn't just start the company, he became the logo, the mascot, and the trust signal all in one aging body in a white suit. This is how KFC sold an old man. Imagine building the world's biggest fried chicken brand. What's your biggest asset? The recipe? The chicken? No, a 65-year-old man in a white suit. Act 1. Before KFC. Harland Sanders held a number of jobs early in his life: steam engine stoker, insurance salesman, filling station operator. None of them stuck. None of them were supposed to be the story. At his gas station in Kentucky, he started fielding so many requests from travelers asking where to eat nearby that he began cooking and selling meals himself: steaks, country ham, biscuits, fried chicken, right there for people passing through. In the early 1940s, he developed the blend of 11 herbs and spices that remains secret to this day, and started cooking his chicken in a pressure fryer instead of a pan. Faster, and it kept the meat moist in a way pan frying couldn't. For a while it worked. A roadside stop became a destination. Act 2. Everything falls apart. Then World War II brought gas station rationing. A new highway was built that bypassed his restaurant entirely. Tourist traffic dried up almost overnight. In 1956, at 65 years old, Sanders sold everything: the restaurant, the motel, all of it. And after paying off his debts, he was left with almost nothing. His entirely monthly income was $105. Social Security check. Most people at that age in that position would call it a life, a respectable ending to an ordinary story. Sanders didn't. Act 3. The franchisee idea. Instead of retiring, he resolved to drive around the country with a pressure cooker and his ingredients, cooking chicken on the spot for restaurant owners he was trying to convince. Some nights he slept in the back seat of his Cadillac, shaving and combing his hair the next morning at a gas station. The offer was simple: use my recipe, pay me a few cents for every piece of chicken you sell. He was turned down 1009 times, according to the story that's followed him ever since. The first Kentucky Fried Chicken franchisee finally opened in Salt Lake County, Utah in 1952, not Kentucky, notably. The idea that eventually took over the world started somewhere it had no obvious business starting. Act 4. The Marketing Genius. Once the model started working, something interesting happened. By 1960, Sanders had 400 franchisees, and his own image was already being used to sell chicken across the country. The white suit, the black string tie, the goatee, the glasses, the practiced smile. This wasn't incidental branding, it was deliberate. Sanders didn't hire an actor or design a cartoon mascot. He turned himself into the trademark. Every franchisee wasn't selling a product with his name on it, it was selling him. The founder didn't create the advertisement, the founder became the advertisement. Act 5. Trust before taste. Here's why that mattered more than the recipe itself. People don't inherently trust a company. Companies are abstractions, logos, buildings, legal entities. But people trust faces almost instinctively. The Colonel gave a fried chicken franchisee something almost no fast food chain had: a specific, real, recognizable human being standing behind the quality. He was known to personally walk into restaurant kitchens and correct an employee's technique on the spot if something wasn't cooked right. That wasn't theater. That obsessiveness became the proof behind the branding. Every white suited photo implicitly said, "This man actually checks." Act 6. Selling the Colonel. By the early 1960s, the Colonel wasn't just a founder anymore. He was the full time face of the business. By 1963, the company was profiting $300,000 a year before taxes. Public appearances, store openings, packaging television, all built around one recognizable figure rather than an anonymous brand identity. People didn't remember a jingle first, they remembered a man, then the meal that came with him. Act 7. After the sale. By 1964, KFC had grown past 600 outlets, and managing it all had become too much for a now 73-year-old Sanders. So he sold Kentucky Fried Chicken Corporation to a group of investors led by John Y. Brown Jr. He no longer owned the company that carried his name and face, and yet the new owners didn't remove him. They kept him everywhere. Because the Colonel wasn't just a founder story anymore. He was the mechanism the entire brand's trust ran through. His name and image remain symbols of the company to this day, decades after his death. Removing him wouldn't have modernized the brand, it would have deleted the reason people trusted it in the first place. The closing. KFC never really just sold fried chicken. It sold the story of a broke 65-year-old man who refused to accept that his life was over. Sometimes the greatest marketing campaign a company ever runs isn't a campaign at all, it's the founder.